Hello there, my name is Tolo Onabaremi Samuel, and today I will be talking to you on a subject entitled There is an Alternative. Now, do you feel restless and unsatisfied? Do you feel there just could be a better way out there? And especially when it comes to how you work, the job you do, or how you make a living? Of course, there is. You see, when you go around the world and you ask people um, what really matters to them, what they think should be the ultimate type of work or business, people say quite a lot of things. Some would say that they wish there was no bus, they wish they were just their own bus. They wouldn't have to travel several miles to get to work, they wouldn't have to wake up very early to go to work, and they wouldn't have to deal with all the politics in the office. They wouldn't have to compromise sometimes, and they wouldn't have to deal with all the discrimination and all of that. You see, some would also say that they perhaps would also prefer if there was something more positive. If they would, one thing that excites them is if there's a great product or service, and if they can also earn unlimited income. Well, that's really hard to say. And some people also say they're fine if they enjoy the people they work with, if they've got time freedom, and if they're working for a higher purpose. It excites them, it moves them to do some more. Some people have also pegged their priority on personal goal growth, lots of perks, international, maybe travels and all of that, you know. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot find all of these things in one particular job. It just might be very difficult. Now, come to think about it, there are different types of jobs, right? You have maybe the blue collar job, white collar job, sales job. Maybe you also have traditional business ownership and investing. But let's look at all these jobs, all these different types of jobs and businesses. They have one thing or the other that make them very interesting. For instance, the person that's a blue collar worker is someone who fixes something or makes something or maybe cleans something. And when you interview most of these blue collar job owners, it doesn't really fit what they get, doesn't really feel the don't really fit the perfect career list. Okay, because of the challenges, you've got to work, you've got to be there physically to make things happen, and it's sometimes a hard job. What about a white collar job? Okay, now the white collar, somebody that does a white collar job, someone who is employed, by someone to do that requires stay in the office, some managerial job, professional or administrative work. Now, many people who choose a white collar career, as it is, people choose, so many people choose white collar career. It's socially acceptable, and it's good. But then, does it also fit the perfect career list? All the things people mention, I mentioned earlier, some people want, and the things people don't want. Not necessarily. Think of the politics in the office. Think of, except you don't want to grow. But the moment you make up your mind that you want to grow in your office, politics comes in. You need to be careful the emails you send. You need to be mindful what you say. You don't want to get into a war with your boss and all of that. A white collar job. What about sales? Some salespeople get away from being an employee and get involved in a sales career. And so some people rather, and they say, okay, I want to get involved in a sales career. Salespeople have considerably more time. They leave the office. They have a little bit of freedom to manage how they work. But the most important thing is that they bring results. But think about the targets. Think about the pressure you'll have to go through, and the fact that sometimes you have part of your pay is your salary basic, which is small, and more of the commission, and then the pressure you are under consistently to meet targets. And then when you meet your targets, more targets are set. There's never been a time when a salesperson meets a target and the target is reduced. It's taken that for you to have met that target, you could do some more, so you are stretched further. And then you've got to, sometimes instead of working 40 hours a week, salespeople have got to work like 60 hours a week, 50, 60 hours a week, maybe 70 hours. and then their life gets smaller and smaller and smaller by the day. Okay, another challenge of the sales career is that no matter how a person does, they still start at zero the next day. And so you've met the target for today, or you've met the target for the month, you start again at zero. So can a sales career pay the bills? Maybe yes, but can it deliver on the perfect career list that we described earlier? No much pressure, no need to commute and all of that, time freedom. Does it fit all of that? Again, the answer is no. What about owning a traditional business? Have you considered the pressure? Have you considered the risk and the burden of building your own business? Some people say, I want to be my own boss. I want to call all the shots. It's an exciting idea. Yet, the reality is that for most people, they use their life savings, they take on new debts, and many times they borrow money from friends and families to get started. And they take more debts, and they get into leases and all of that, personal guarantees and all of that. And then instead of focusing on what they are good at, let's say maybe sales, something like that, they get to focus on doing everything because you're your own boss. It's your tree. If you cut down the tree, all the birds will fly away. So you don't want the tree to go down. So you do everything. So you act as an attorney, you act as a lawyer, you act as an accountant, financial matters, you're there, you're a babysitter, your employee matters, negotiator, blah, 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 all of that. Just you, one person, okay? And you even sometimes will have to take out the garbage. Then the struggle continues, okay? So instead of owning your own business, your business eventually owns you. And whether you succeed or fail, it's all on your shoulders. So you take all the burden. That's what traditional business. So most people who start their own traditional businesses aren't worried about getting a return on their investment. They just want a return off their investment. So it's pretty clear that traditional business ownership can't provide a perfect career like we discussed earlier. So the burden, the troubles of, we're not saying starting a traditional business, being a sole proprietor, starting your own business is wrong. But we're trying to compare in today's world, okay, when you start your own business, when you do a blue-collar job, a white-collar job, do they really give you the satisfaction you want, all-round satisfaction you want? Okay, but what about being an investor? Being an investor is good. Excuse me, that's great. But then for you to be an investor, you have to have a lot of money. And you wouldn't want to invest in a one-man's business, a small business, because the risk is also high. But what about the stock market? Yeah, many people are doing great there. I have a friend who tells me he's an impulsive investor. That's great. But then you have to be very knowledgeable, maybe. And some people have lost money more than they have won, especially in the past decade. Think about 2000, the late 2006, 7, 8, and all the financial crisis and all of that. And so being an investor is good in itself, but then does it give you that rest of mind? What about you having to check what's happening in the stock market back and forth? And most importantly, you have to invest. You have to have some money to invest in. Okay, so the message I have for you this morning is that we live in a new world. Okay, the world as we know it has changed. For people who don't recognize that, it will be the worst of time. What we've known all this while is to go to school, learn how to be an employee, find a company that would employ you, work for that company for 40 years and then retire. In recent days or in recent times, that has changed. Gone are the days when regular work gives you the satisfaction, the time freedom that you want. Okay, so a different process has evolved. So now what we have on board is go to school. Some people say go to school, learn to be an employee. That's how the world evolved. Find a company that will employ you. Switch companies for various political and economic reasons every 3 to 5 years over the course of your career. Find that you can retire comfortably after 40 years, and so keep working. Now, if you look at all this, it's a shift. Okay. Now, today we're going through the biggest shift in any of our times. I used to remember the days when our parents used to pride themselves with the saying, I've been here for 30 years, for 20 years, for 35 years, I worked here. Today, for young stars, for people who are in the world of employment, You see, it's about how many companies have you moved to. I mean, I'm a star, I'm a hot cake, and that's why I've moved in 4 years. I've moved, or in 2 years, I've worked with 4 companies or 6 companies. Okay, so the world is changing. And because the world is changing and things are getting tighter and tighter, you find out that, the companies do not raise your salaries or increase your salaries, your pay, because things are getting tighter and tighter. You also need to understand that technology is also coming full swing, it's taking over the world. And so those jobs that you'll have 20, 30 persons doing, you find 10 persons doing, so people get to lose their jobs. Okay, now companies will lower their salaries. If you like, some companies will tell you, well, we'll have to cut the salary by half, or if you don't like it, you can leave. One thing is certain, the new economy needs fewer people, so the companies have more people competing for fewer and fewer jobs. And the exponential rise of technology has changed everything. So over 100 years ago, 90% of the population worked in agriculture. Today, because of dramatic efficiencies, it's less than 1%, and the farming jobs are gone. So remember customer service. We used to have so many call centers, but today technology is taking over. You can do most of the things by yourself, sit in your home. Your DSTV is not working, something is not working. You can press a few codes instead of calling a customer care representative. So all these jobs are going away. The world is changing, but if we open our eyes to see that this is really happening, it really will help us. But I'm going to talk about something that really interests me. For the past couple of months, I've really been excited about this, and I make bold to say that there is an alternative, and I think the alternative is network marketing. Okay, now for network marketing, there are important products and services in the world today that need to be promoted to the people who need them, and consumers need to be educated. Okay, now companies have choices. It's either they use traditional sales force, and I tell you what, to use a traditional sales force is more expensive than using the network marketing model. Okay, all the middlemen, all the people you've got to pay, advertising and all of that. Okay, and more companies will need eventually to choose to use network marketing because it fits the new economy. Okay, they just provide all the corporate support, and you pay distributors purely on their performance, so you don't have anybody on your payroll that you pay because you have to pay the person, because that's what's been agreed. But people are paid purely on performance, and the company can just take the money that they would have spent on advertising and promotion and pay it to their distributors to spread the word instead of putting up big billboards. I'm not totally against all these things, but I'm saying some of the decisions, most of the decisions consumers make today, they make based on referrals, based on word of mouth, and not because of what they see on the billboards on TV or that. So what that means is that for you as an entrepreneur, you receive all the benefits of traditional business ownership without the typical risks. So if you go into network marketing, you become an entrepreneur. You do not have to rent a shop. You do not have to pay for power. You do not have to carry all the burden that a traditional entrepreneur will carry on his shoulder. But it's like a network marketing company that plays the corporate role, has sockets. So all you need to do is take your plug and put your plug there, and boom, you start running. Okay, so it's important for us to note that the world is changing, and so the marketing world and the way goods and services get to consumers. So my advice to you at this point is that you need to embrace the temporary loss of self-esteem sometimes from people that are ignorant about network marketing, people who do not know what network marketing is about, and they want to look down on you, they want to push you around, they want to say, oh, is this what you're doing? It's a proud business, it's an industry that we should be proud of. Okay, there's a reason why people would think less of you, and it's not just because they are stuck in the old system. Okay, it's really because they probably don't know exactly how big network marketing is, and how it's actually changing the world. So most people have either joined a network marketing company, or maybe they know someone that has joined, and maybe it didn't work out well. Sometimes, at some point, um, one of these my messages, we're also going to discuss why some of these things don't work. Okay, so because they probably didn't follow the rules, they didn't follow the principles, people just came in like it's a scheme, I don't have to get myself involved. But they forget there's a lot of learning, leadership training, and skills that you must develop as a network marketer. Okay, so for that reason, sometimes people look down on you. It's basically because you don't know what, but really, it does make sense, to be a network marketer. In fact, that's where the world is going. More and more companies will begin to understand that you do not have to have a big office complex, put hundreds or tens of people in there, and pay them, um, get cars to fuel their movement, all the overhead costs. But you could just get independent marketers, independent representatives, okay, and build a network marketing model that eventually makes everybody rich and comfortable. On the flip side, these people have time freedom. They can earn as much money as they desire to earn. We're not saying everybody will become a billionaire or everybody will become a millionaire. No, that's not what we're saying. But what we're saying is you could be relatively comfortable, okay, if you compare this to just a regular work, traditional businesses, white collar jobs or blue collar jobs, and have as a network marketer, you could also have the opportunity to travel around the world, visit people, meet great people. All right. So all great network marketers in the world have at one point in time been ignored, but then, you know, um, like Nelson Mandela said, most times it appears impossible until it's done. Okay, some of the dreams that these great people like Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Steve Jobs, and the rest of them had, people at one point in time felt it was just a dream, wasn't going to happen. I tell you what, network marketing isn't perfect, but it's a better alternative, and it's a reality, and it's growing. It is coming on board. It is here to stay. I would advise you not just to push it away. When you find a network marketing opportunity, don't push it away. Listen to what they have to offer. Some point during one of these messages, we're also going to look at what a true network marketing opportunity is. And so, in our case, we've created the Aspiring Lifestyle Entrepreneurs Program. The program is designed to help you. It's not, and the principles we teach is not just for network marketers alone, even for traditional business owners. Okay, principles of leadership, principles of running a business, principles of creating residual income. If you are there for your business to make money, then you're not a smart business owner. Your business should be able to run whether you're there or not, and should be able to take care of itself, should allow you to go around the world, to grow, and to begin to earn some point multiple figures. Okay, if that's not happening, you need to think about it again. Remember, we all can't be billionaires. We can't, all may probably not be multiple millionaires, but we can be relatively comfortable. We can. There are always bills to pay, but the most important thing is, do you have the means to pay those bills? So I do hope that this message helps you. Compare what we've talked about: white collar jobs, blue collar jobs, only traditional business, being an investor, and all the troubles therein. But you don't have all of these things. Network marketing. In network marketing, you have time freedom. Eventually, you get financial freedom. Eventually, you'll have time for your family. You decide how you work, the pace at which you work, and you won't have to deal with all the office politics and all the politics of here and there businesses. And everybody has got a level playing field. Nobody's the boss. So you might just want to think about that. It's a business that's good for women, even housewives. You could work from home. So the next time you hear an opportunity, do not throw it away. Okay. If you have concerns about network marketing, you have concerns about your business, you want someone to talk to, we're working with this fantastic, brilliant team of people from various parts of various walks of life. We can always help you. And trust me, okay, most times you don't have to pay. So thank you so much for listening. I look forward to meeting you again. I look forward to having you again, and let's share some more. Thank you. Bye.